Welcome back to Minus 16, the podcast where we not only talk about tech, but also the very business of YouTube. And I'm back with the only two men I'd like to spend a Friday evening with. That suddenly sounds wrong. It sounded better in my head. But anyway, moving straight on from that.
Speak for yourself, mate.
Alex, Daniel, how are you boys?
All good. Somebody just woke up over there.
We're now getting used to the workarounds of doing the pod with somebody on the other side of the world, because it's about 6:30 a.m. for you, 5:30 a.m.
5:43. Yep.
So he's putting the early one over there. We're pulling the slightly late one over here in the UK. It's 9:15 that we're recording this. So you can't say we haven't got the love for the podcast. We are here doing our dues, paying our way. So we've got quite a few bits to get through. There's quite a lot going on in the world of YouTube, revisiting some stories, but some new ones as well. And gear-wise, well, there's all sorts of things. I think possibly a good place to start would be with you, Daniel. There was a comment and thank you again, we've had more subs and people are commenting, which is great. So, it seems that the pod is causing a little bit of energy now, which we love. But Daniel, somebody was asking about your current setup and how you record. Now, I know to some degree that has been answered in a video that you put up last weekend. But if you just want to run through, because you are steadfastly, certainly at the moment, everything is smartphone, right? Everything is S24.
S23 Ultra exclusively.
S23,
yeah. I lost my S23 Ultra. The last place I saw it was in Alex's studio, and then conveniently it's gone missing. So who knows? But
this is why my footage looks so good now.
Hey, he had a Samsung Flip for a year. I mean, that boy's got form, so.
It's
hide some stuff here.
I decided to buy a new one, refurbished one, because it was so handy to have a dedicated phone with the quality that had to capture all my content. Like, I was substituting the Fold 5 in and out, but I just found the S23 Ultra has like this perfect sweet spot of, it doesn't look too over sharpened, it doesn't look too fake. It's got quite a natural sort of look about it. So I just replaced it. But yeah, pretty much my entire setup, even through the editing, is a Samsung laptop. I've got Samsung equipment everywhere to sort of create and do my content. So that's sort of how it sort of works together. The quick share from the phone to the laptop as well.
Quick shares, the airdrop kind of thing, I take it, is it? So yeah.
So fast. It is so fast from phone to laptop, and it's never really failed me. I can do it on a plane. I can do it in hotels. It just is so quick and keeps me agile when I want to create.
And when you started out, Alex, did you start off on a camera, or did you start off on a phone?
Which in retrospect, I think it was a mistake. I actually talked about that in Daniel's video, because we were, he was here in the studio, and I can see how people might get like overwhelmed by gear and say, "Oh my gosh, there's so much stuff. There's lighting, camera, microphones, stands everywhere." And to start off with, I would say, don't worry about any of that. I think just create the content. Don't make the mistakes I made, which was waiting for the right camera. So I get the camera that you are using now, the Canon. And it took me ages to choose a camera. And once you get the camera, you got to learn about it. You got to make some mistakes about it. And I would have much rather have started with my iPhone, whatever it was at the time, iPhone 11, whatever it was. I should have just done that. And my recommendation is just start, if whatever it is that you're trying to do, and then slowly but surely upgrade bit by bit. Audio, I'll probably go equal measure lighting and audio first, buy a proper set of light and a proper microphone as soon as you can, in whichever order you can. But they're equally important, I think, because sometimes people say, this stuck with me from the beginnings. Like, people say people can bear a bad quality video, like a low res.
I've been told
but they
this.
can't bear bad audio, and they'll probably stand bad lighting as well. But bad audio is a no. People will completely click off. So as soon as you can, get a good microphone, and
So that sort of beggars a question then, Daniel. As your channel begins to grow and get ever bigger, do you see that there might be a point you have to sort of say, okay, look, I've stayed in lane, I've been Samsung all the way, but now's the time I need to look at better audio, better camera, possibly a dedicated DSLR. Do you see that day possibly coming?
I think it comes down to something my wife said to me actually a couple of days ago, kind of resonated and stuck with me, is that in the age of TikTok and Instagram Reels, people are looking for authenticity over like manufactured. And there's something quite charming about people using a smartphone to capture their content that is authentic, because you're not acting overly professional. You're relevant and relatable. Like, you can relate to the audience, and they're like, oh, I've got a smartphone. I could do that. And it kind of, I guess, judging by the comments in my video that I made, people can be quite inspired by the fact that they can create with their phone and see it can work. So in that sense, I'm like, well, I could just hold on to that. But on the other side, I was at an event this week, which we can't mention, but I just did, that had kind of not
we
very...
haven't said what event.
It could be anything. Could have been an event for chocolate.
Exactly.
And the lighting wasn't very good. And smartphones notoriously not great for capturing content in not very good lighting. It was like yellow light. It wasn't very bright. It was dim. And at that point, I was like, well, I'm quite limited here in the quality that I can get, because I don't have the right camera. And a dedicated camera with a full frame sensor absolutely would have been able to overcome that condition and capture something still quite cinematic. So that side of me kind of exposed me to the idea that maybe in certain situations it's okay to still have a camera. So I don't know. But also, I've seen a lot of people at the event were using the DJI Osmo Pocket 3.
Oh yeah, that's amazing actually.
Right?
Yeah, I've considered that actually.
And I was watching them walk around and capturing quite cinematic content without the need for
4K 60. Yeah,
right. So I was like, maybe that's like a good stopgap to sort of bust out when I need to. So I don't know.
Have you ever owned a camera?
I had a few years ago, like before we had kids, a Sony A6000, but it was full HD. And then when we moved house, I was like, I don't need this anymore. So I sold it. And then a year later, I started my YouTube channel. I'm like, that could have come in real handy. So
we never learned, dude. We never learned.
No, I'm not like my parents, like hold on to things. And for some reason I was like, nah, I'm not going to be like them. And then turns out they're right. You can use stuff.
Parents always right. You know that. Parents always
hold on to it.
I like the fact that on your channel, being obviously a dedicated Samsung channel, that people are looking at it, it's so authentic. As you say, you edit on a Samsung laptop, you're shooting on Samsung. And I did try that for a time. As you know, Alex, I shot a couple of videos using the iPhone 15 Pro Max in ProRes log. And it was a great quality. It's just, it does lack that little bit of depth of field that, the picture quality itself was stunning, was great. And I use it now as the cutaway because I still do a throwaway shot on the videos, and that's how I record that into Blackmagic. But I have been trying the new Final Cut camera app, actually. It's very, very similar to Blackmagic, very similar.
Yeah, it's a bit more limited, I found. But yeah, the basics are there. I gave that to my wife and I said, just use that instead of, because she does lots of like food photography and videos. And I think for sort of semi-professionals or amateurs that are just enthusiastic about video, that's a great next step from the standard app on the phone.
And certainly having played with that now, I spent a lot of the last weekend actually nerding out like we do. The day that you're supposed to have an off, you kind of play around with toys and stuff. So I had the iPad out with playing with 2 iPhones and using the Final Cut camera. And that is a brilliant system they got going on. I was really in my element. It hooks up really easily. Still, as you said in the past, that's exactly the same. You can only go one way. So once you start on the iPad, you can only take it to the Mac.
I forgot his name, Starman's video.
Yeah, Tyler, yeah.
Yeah, it was like a 3. I think he had 4 iPhones with the guys from DP photography.
Yeah, that's right. That was his podcast, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, they got it going, but it was a bit glitchy. And he did say exactly that. It's a one-way system. But, it will get there. I think it will eventually be something that, we can kind of switch between the Mac and the iPad. And I think that at that point, I'll see a lot. I actually used the iPad, the handwriting. Well, it can be, I think it's called live drawing.
Yeah.
So it can draw on top of the footage and that becomes part of the video. So I think that's still personal a use case that I like to every now and then use.
Yeah.
You talked about the Blackmagic camera app and the Final Cut Pro Samsung, the S24 Ultra, Samsung or Android has now got the Blackmagic camera app.
I saw that. Yeah, have you
phone.
used it yet?
I have looked at it. It can only record in S7. Like it's only got that recording space. Doesn't have log or S log, whatever it is, which is unfortunate because I think that's what a lot of people use on the iPhone, and that's why they talk about the iPhone being the creator's phone because it can do that. But the app itself reminds me very heavily of Pro Video Mode on Samsung's phones, which gives you control over the ISO, the shutter speed, and all that sort of stuff. It's very similar.
Camera, the Pro camera on the S24 and even on the S23, obviously, is One UI, right? Yeah, that's pretty complete. The S24 Ultra now has a kind of that fake ND filter, which at a pinch, I mean, it's not exactly like I did like my review. I tested it, and it's, you know, if you forget your ND filter and you want to do a shot that is in pro mode and you're trying to get that you know, it's too sunny and you want to get a little bit of a shallow depth of field, it's fantastic for that.
It needs to be very stable, but yes.
Because I know I've seen on your videos, Alex, you've actually got physical NDs you use. Have you ever put filters on yours, Daniel?
No, I went in Sydney this week. I went to another YouTuber's place, Samuel Nam, another Australian creator who's doing quite well.
I think I saw on you put a picture on Twitter, didn't you?
Yeah, he's doing yeah. But he has the full setup. He's got all of the camera gear, the Sony A7 S3, I think, Alex, which is what you've got as well. And he had ND filters and different lenses that he was swapping out. And it made a difference. Like the ND filter absolutely changed like the image. He had his live feed on his iPad and he had,
It's like sunglasses, right?
Yeah.
I haven't got mine on there.
We should have him on, actually. He's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we haven't talked about guests, actually. That's something we should, we must think about that because we've got three of us. We can wheel in somebody else as our fame grows. We just wheel in another body. I've never tried an ND filter on my phone, but the one time I tried shooting log outdoors on the iPhone, it was just totally overexposed. It was a really super, super bright sunny day. And clearly that was the issue, that I should have been using some sort of filter on it.
I mean, log itself will look like that. And then when you bring it up and you know, the beauty of log is that you've got a lot of room to maneuver. But the ND filter is more for things like capturing slow shutter speed. So if you say, for example, you want to do like a water emotion, or you want to do very like portrait style shots, but it's really bright. So when you've got that combination of too much light coming in, then that's when you need the ND filter. I've got these ones from. They don't sponsor anything. I mean, they send me the stuff, but I thought it was really good for the S24 Ultra. They're massive though, and they do add a lot of weight. So what I found, look at the size of it. It's like
so that clips onto the back of the phone.
Well, it has a special case for it, which is part of the problem. Because I think if you're only doing photos and videos, and that's the sole purpose of your trip, that's great. But the minute you put this and the case, and you try to put that on a phone gimbal, that's when you start having issues, because those Ultra phones are not light, right? So the gimbals that we've got today will struggle with the weight. So
actually, as we're turning into a bit of a camera session, which is cool actually, because it's a little semi-passion that's going on mine. So asking you both again, I know on your videos I've seen quite a lot when you're out in London that you always, in fact, when we were sitting in Windsor, you said you nearly always use a gimbal. But do you boys feel the need, with the stabilisation that's on phones now, do you feel there is still an advantage to using a gimbal?
I still think so, yeah. Especially for, I found that the hard way, because I never used to think that way. And then I did a video which did really well. So, I mean, I tried to replicate it and I never could, but I did a video on the S23 Ultra trying out the 8K footage, and I did it all handheld. And it was a really, I mean, I'm still mind blown by the quality that I was able to produce with that phone in 8K 30. But the footage was too shaky because, 8K 30 doesn't have the same stabilization as 4K 60, for example. So, and you can't really slow it down because it's 30 frames per second. So I think there are situations, and even in 4K 60, I still think there are things you can do with the gimbal, even if you like turn it upside down and you want to follow someone's footsteps. There's some classic shots that you can do a lot easier if it's mounted on a gimbal. That's my opinion anyway.
About you, Daniel, do you use them?
I have one, and I keep forgetting to bring it. Every time I'm like, I'm going to go take some outdoor shots today, I'm like, oh, I'll leave the gimbal here. And then I get there and like gimbal would have been real handy right about now.
Did you take it on holiday with you?
No.
So everything you shot on holiday was all handheld?
Everything I shot on holiday was all handheld, which is, it's to be honest, the video stabilization at 4K 30 on the S23, S24 Ultra is actually quite good. Samsung keep improving the AI when it comes to prediction for OIS and some of the algorithms they got. So it's good, and I very rarely need it, but there's moments when I'm capturing a product shot and I'm trying to keep my hand steady, especially if I'm using like a closer up zoom. Like the 5X is quite good on the S24 Ultra, but the stabilization is not as strong. And I'm like,
those are the shots that.
With the gimbal.
So when you're especially when you're when it's more than just pan, because you can do pan. I mean, there's some tricks that you learn on watching Instagram Reels, right, where people show you how to like hold the phone even instead of holding like this, because there's a lot of movement.
Yeah, brace the shoulders and the
there's
elbows.
Different ways, to kind of have more points of contact. But there are times when, especially for product shots, where you want to go beyond just the pull in, the dolly shot, and the panning, right? You want to do some circular movements. That's when the gimbal comes in really handy to kind of do those a little bit more elaborate shots.
I've just charged mine up again, actually, because like you, Daniel, I was sitting here in the studio and I thought, I really need to begin taking it out with me. So it's kind of in the car all the time now. I remember to charge it up. So, I'm going to try to begin using it. And speaking of which, I know you just said that you did that video, I remember it clearly, the 8K shot on the Sony, on the Samsung. What do you shoot your A-roll in, Daniel? 4K or 8?
4K 30, but I use portrait video mode on the S23 Ultra because that gives that depth of field, even though it's artificially created because it's software.
It's pretty good, actually.
And I dial it down to about 3 on the setting, and it turns out okay. So it's just I would like to transition to trying to create like it more naturally with a natural bokeh versus artificial. But again, that probably comes with a camera, which I'm just holding off. I just don't know which camera. There's so many options. Like I just don't know the right one as well.
I got so lucky. I mean, you touched on it early on, Alex, when you said it's worth buying it, then you've got to learn to use it. I sort of had a crash course with you that day, and I'd never touched the camera until I got this 90D that I'm using now. I absolutely love the thing. Absolutely love the thing. I know it's really, it's a budget camera in the scheme of things, but like you say, Daniel, there's so much to choose from. And I'm still using the same lenses that I got with the camera. I'm shooting now on a 24mm. How are you finding your new Sony, by the way? Was that money well spent? Are you happy with it?
Yes. I mean, the phone or the
the new camera. Yeah, we'll get on to the phone in a minute.
The camera is the best camera I've ever had, really. It's fantastic. I took it to London again this week and did a few things over there. I'm really happy with it. It's a little bit lighter than the one I had before. It's the same sensors, the same internals apparently than the A7S III, but it has better, they call it a focus breathing compensation. And to me anyway, they definitely seem a little bit sharper. So I don't know. I'm using the same lenses and the same.
I was just going to say it is the same
lighting,
lenses,
same LUTs and everything. But anyway, the results feel a little bit sharper for me.
Is that down to the software, or is it because it's the shape and the space that's internally with the camera that changes it? Because if it's the same internals as the A7S III, why couldn't that just also have the same functionality?
Exactly. The colors are incredible. I mean, there was the video I uploaded today. There's two angles, and it was the first time since I started doing multicam that I was actually happy with the second angle, and that was from the A7S III. I was like, there were times where I thought the A7S III actually looks better from that angle. So I say, they are very close in terms of quality. I'm really happy with that setup now. It's just.
I feel you're paying a multicam. The video that went up yesterday for me, I spent so long. And it's like you go down a rabbit hole. I thought, no, the red cast is too wrong. It's too heavy. I spent and I still haven't got my head quite around how to use match color in Final Cut. I had to go at it yesterday. In the end, I was just using the color wheels and, saturate, and I've got it near, but you become obsessed with it, don't you? All you can see is what's wrong, and you know it's going to be 10 seconds, 15 seconds of a cutaway shot. It's actually nothing. And as long as it's not a car crash, people won't complain. But for me, I spent so long trying to get it right.
And it's, I mean, just listening to Daniel talk about his S23 Ultra, every time I hear it, and I saw your video as well about kind of you bought another one, right? And I just think I really want to do the same because I miss it. It's one of those devices that I knew as soon as I started using it last year, that phone was going to be one of those, like, that was before and after the S23 Ultra. And I might go back and get it because it's just one of those devices that the S24 Ultra is great, but I'm not really happy with some of the things in there, like battery and whatever. But
I know you said there was still some camera glitches, didn't you, on the S24?
Yeah, and video, yeah, 50 megapixel and 200 megapixel is really hit and miss. I mean, I don't know about you, Daniel, but I find it, if you don't know what if you just want a quick shot and you want to use a 50 megapixel or 200 megapixel, it might fail on you. You have to be patient in those modes.
Yeah, there was something about the S23 Ultra, like it's like an intangible thing that you can't describe. It's so crazy to say this about a phone, but it generated like a feeling. There is that missing from the S24 Ultra. It's almost like the S24 Ultra it's definitely a better phone. It's got better internals. Everything about it is an upgrade.
It's crazy, right? Yeah.
But it it misses that ooze, that class, that stuff that makes you feel unique, because they flattened the screen. They sort of made it not like every other phone, but they definitely refined it in a way that makes it more in line with what else is out there. Whereas the S23 Ultra kind of had this perfect blend of everything that was out there, but also a bit of uniqueness.
And it was like that from day one. That's the thing from that I think is hurting the S24 Ultra. Is it hasn't really had a good start. But yeah. I might get another one, or maybe I'll find yours.
Find.
The last place I saw it was on that table. So
watch his videos. Just watch what comes along. You know, my flip kept coming into your thumbnail here. Show him Samsung.
I'll just spray it red or something. Yeah.
The beauty, of course, of us now having this triumvirate where there's always something going on. I mean, things are a little bit quiet Apple-wise at the moment. Yes, there's these rumours that you mentioned just before we started recording, and I did start recording this time. We haven't wasted the first 25 minutes, I promise you. Yeah, I actually did learn from my lesson. There's these odd rumours going around about possibly an iPad Mini Pro, which I don't really see the need for, to be honest.
I never had an iPad Mini. It's probably one of those. It's my next big purchase, I think, after whatever comes out of Samsung next week. But I do like the Fold and this aspect ratio of it feels to me like the iPad Mini would be something like this minus all the phone stuff. But yeah, I might try it this time if they come up with a Pro.
Are there any rumours flying around sort of Samsung? What you've got? So a big Samsung event's coming up next week then, from what you're saying, right?
10th of July.
I haven't heard anything.
10th of July.
10th of July. But the Fold 5 has been out for a year. And like you talk about the iPad Mini. When I think about the iPad Mini, I think, well, the Fold is that, but can do more stuff. With so much more than it can do, because it's a phone as well as a tablet that you can then just put in your pocket.
A couple of things I've learned recently since I bought that iPad, the Pro, is that there's a real niche audience that love watching iPad content. It is Marmite. You either love them and you get them, or you just don't know what they're put on the earth for. But equally, another subcult of that is there are people that will only want to buy the iPad Mini. And I'm kind of with you, actually, Daniel. I can't see the point. It is, it's portable, but honestly, if I'm going to do that,
it's a content magnet. Every creator who makes videos on the iPad Mini has a ton of views. I would definitely recommend, if you want it for like just to try it out and kind of flourish your YouTube content. I think for you especially, David, it would
He's
be a
been kind to me.
no-brainer. It would be a no, even to get the current one. I would say just compare that. And,
Well, there's something might come out, I guess, later this year, but certainly at the moment, I'm a little mini. Sorry, that's a bad phrase. I'm a bit of an iPad channel. I think the last 4 or 5, and they've been kind to me. You know, I've had certainly decent subs out of them, and comments. People are because they're passionate about it. They want to talk. How is it with the Samsung tablets? Do people buy into them? Do they get them?
For me, yeah. I mean, for my channel, I haven't done many videos, but they all do well. I mean, in comparison to actually better than the iPad videos I make. So.
It's interesting for me with the tablet because I started my channel basically on the basis of the S23 Ultra, and I generated a lot of subs based off how to use this phone. People pretty much subscribed for that purpose. And then I started introducing tablets into the mix, and there was a limit to them, to how well they would do. So like I didn't end up making as many videos on the tabs as I thought, because the audience that I've been growing just wasn't responding to them in the same way they were to the other stuff I was making. But I love the Tab S9 Ultra. Like I think it's like such a great device for content creation, content consumption, productivity. But yeah, just it hasn't been responding as well on my end.
Do you personally use it much day to day?
Yeah, no, I use it a lot. It forms part of like my whenever I write a script for something, I'll usually use that, or like I might start it on the phone and then it transitions to the tablet. And but according to everyone, I need a flat desk to type on, because it does not have a Magic Keyboard equivalent, as we all know, which is the frustrating part about it.
Yeah, mine lives on a stand on a different setup here, but it's on a magnetic stand most of the time. Sometimes I'll get it out and connect to the keyboard, but I just I love that aspect ratio. I think to be very completely honest here, I don't think we needed a Tab S9 Ultra, because the Tab S8 Ultra, I mean, yes, he was getting on a little bit, but
it's the same.
It's really close, isn't it? I mean, I would much rather if they waited a year and came out, with Tab S9 Ultra like now, having a bit more, I don't know, some different display options or a better processor or whatever.
I like the idea, because the Snapdragon X Elite has been coming out on Windows laptops, and I'd like the idea of that being on a Samsung tablet, because like Apple with the M4 chips, it's like super overpowered, but Samsung has the software to take advantage of it. Like Samsung DeX, you could absolutely take advantage of the Snapdragon X Elite and do way more in that DeX environment. Whereas it's almost like the M4 is kind of, it's held back by the software. It's funny, actually, we talk about this now. The video, I shot a video with Samuel in his studio, and the video was whether the iPad needs Mac OS. And that was then the discussion that sort of he wanted to have in his video, whether it's necessary.
I have an opinion on that. Honestly, I don't think so. I think it needs better apps to be supported in there, and just better ecosystem, kind of like we were talking about earlier, right? About just how you might want to work on the iPad and complement that work with the Mac, and vice versa. So you can do a little bit of that today, but not really, and only in certain apps. I'd like to see, just better support for professional work. I don't think it needs Mac OS necessarily.
No, mate, something I wrote today, I said, I don't want Mac OS on the iPad. I don't want a touchscreen Mac. They're kind of different, and you know what you're picking up when you use them. And I don't want to. I don't want a touchscreen Mac.
The touchscreen on the laptop, I disagree. I would love to have even if it was on the MacBook Air, maybe just as an option. I know, I think
having a touchscreen,
it'll make a lot of people happy.
Having a touchscreen Windows laptop, I can tell you, it is very convenient to sometimes just be able to reach out and touch the screen, because it's so natural. You're so used to touchscreen phones, touchscreen tablets. It's so natural just to be able to like minimize something or drag an app or a window across. Like it's very convenient in the right time. It's not something you're going to use all the time, but it's great to have.
Put a five-year-old who never seen a computer in their lives, put them in front of a Mac and say, right, use it. First thing they'll do is try to touch it.
Which is exactly why I think the future is going to be kind of iPad, possibly, because kids are going to grow up now using phones and not using desktops, and they're going to understand. So if they can actually, and I think a lot of the fault lies with the developers. The devs aren't putting enough time and effort into iPad apps. And, you know, we both mentioned the Medium app is absolutely crap. It's a shocking app. And even YouTube Studio, if you go into the comments section, you know, when you're trying to reply to comments from viewers, and on the iPad app, you go into make a comment, you type it, and then it just grays out, and you have to come back out of it and go back in again. It's things like that. It's just so painful. It doesn't need to be that way.
Well, to be fair, YouTube app and YouTube Studio app are painful to work on mobile, on the browser. It's just not. Yeah, it's not nice to use. I mean, it's getting there, but it's just difficult.
Yeah.
But I see what you mean though about. But I think from an Apple's perspective, I wonder sometimes whether they are skipping, because I know they're bringing things like eye tracking technology, right? Isn't that on one of the beta now on the iPhone?
It's on the beta, yeah, because it's coming out in 18, isn't it? So yeah, it's on the beta. Yeah,
I can see a world where they're going, you know, why touch? Why don't we just skip to eye tracking on the Macs?
On that,
maybe.
David, I noticed you've booked in a Vision Pro test when that comes out. Is that got a date to launch in the UK now?
Yeah.
Next week, isn't it?
Next week, 12th, I think.
Oh, wow.
I've booked it for the Monday 15th. I'm going to London. I've got somebody doing Joy Experience with me that week, so she's lucked out. She's I thought she was having a boy and work. So no, actually, our first day is going to be in London. I booked her a session as well, so we're going to go up and do this demo. They won't let us screen record the session, which is a shame, because I was hoping maybe I could have taken the session away. But I don't think I'll make any content on it. Because it's done. It's not going to get any views. I'll write about it, but I'm just dead keen to actually experience what it's like for myself.
I won't
be buying it.
I did see someone put a tweet out saying that they feel like the Vision Pro is stagnant. They're like, the views aren't there. Like nothing's happening with it. It's like, what's going on? And they're making content exclusively about the Vision Pro too. And they're like, we've got nothing to say because it's all been said.
To be honest, if you watch Casey, if you watch Marquez, it's kind of done and dusted. There's nothing more you can bring to the table. They've done it. It's not just that,
right? It goes back to being relatable. It's not a product that people can relate to yet. I think once it's accessible and people can buy it, then there'll be a lot more interest and they will want to see different perspectives. Unless you get one and you do something crazy like some skydiving, something that is visually appealing and interesting, that is nothing to do with someone wanting to buy one. I don't think you will have any legs on YouTube.
Exactly. And even when it's available, you can't get away from the fact it's still £3,500, and it's
it's not accessible.
People haven't got that money to drop. Yeah, exactly. I'm with you. It's eye-watering. You know that's serious Mac territory.
$7,000 Australian dollars. That is insane.
Is it launched in Australia yet?
No.
Is Apple? No.
I don't know if it'll come here. Like it's weird because Australia is we're like America. We're a mini America in terms of the market. Like we will basically do what they do, but I think our population might be too small. Like we're 26, 27 million people. It might not be suited to the Australian environment, and it might be too hot in summer. So that could also play a factor.
You guys don't need it, right? You just look out the window.
Exactly.
And before we begin getting into YouTube, we mentioned, just very briefly touched on it a short while ago, Alex, Sony's been good for you, isn't it? The videos you made on the phone and the Xperia and the whole general experience. Yeah,
so it's kind of a mix, a conversation between, dealing with brands, so we can kind of slowly navigate towards the YouTube part of this podcast. But yeah, it was one of those things. So every now and then I do a video that I kind of do it because I want to do it. I want to do a good job. If I get a sponsor, great. Sometimes I don't even care about it. I just do a video to be like a showcase. And you might say, some of them will flop and not generate anything. And some of them, and this in June, 2 that I did generated a couple of leads, one from LG and the other one from Sony. So I think, the point is sometimes don't wait for brands to don't kind of spend too much time reaching out to brands and asking for stuff. Produce something that you can use as almost like a shopping window, right? So say, right,
a show reel kind of thing.
And I thought the Sony Xperia was one of those. I realized that they weren't sending the phones to creators way ahead of time. I think there was only 2 or 3 videos that I saw on YouTube. And whenever that happens, you got to keep an eye open for that stuff as well. I saw the opportunity to go, if creators are not getting it earlier than the general consumers, I'll just buy one and do a review, because I will be as quick as the people who are getting it for free. So there's no that advantage that we normally see with
embargoes.
With embargoes, it's kind of gone. So I was like, okay, well, and I did that video, and it was for days, if not weeks. There weren't many more videos on that device. So I think it did well. And the video was, one of those that I use like copyright music. I don't care. Just like I did a good video and enjoyable. I enjoyed, it killed me because there was a lot in that video from an editing perspective. But yeah, they reached out and said, do you want to review more stuff from Sony? And so, well, why not, right? So yeah, we're getting some camera gear sent out.
Nice.
Maybe some phones in feature. Obviously, the main phone is the one I bought, so I don't need it.
Do they release phones annually or not? Or because it's quite a niche phone, is it?
I think the last 2 years, that's 3 years they did. I'm not sure what the history is.
So, as you said, we're kind of segueing almost effortlessly towards the, seamlessly, one could say, towards the YouTube part of the pod. And there's quite a few interesting things going on. On a personal note, I've just yesterday put out my first sponsored video.
Yay.
So that's now,
nice.
So sent out the invoice this morning. So it's now hot on the heels. So yeah, ESR have been great to deal with. And thank you, Alex, for sort of pointing me in the right direction. But they've been great to deal with, really easy. I had the first time I had to wait for approval. I had the whole video sitting here waiting. Just had that little pain point. But luckily, I sent it out to him with enough time and he was like really happy. It took me a day. I bent over backwards for them. I really did.
Brilliant.
But I made a big effort to make sure that it was nicely integrated and, as you said, trying to further relationships with the brand.
Yeah,
and show,
and they are great.
Me.
And I feel bad because they've been reaching out for a long time. And I saw it sometimes, rather than just saying no and just ignoring it, I thought I'll share that with you. And I'm glad that worked. And there's a couple more opportunities, right? I'm hoping
got a couple booked for September. Yeah. And the very chair I'm sitting on now is from a sponsor as well for a future video. Came today after going all around the UK. I think it took 7 days to actually lay my hands on it, but it should have turned up last Saturday and it turned up today, but nonetheless. So yeah, now I'm actually spending time doing admin, which obviously you boys have been doing for a while, but today is virtually solidly, apart from this fun bit of the day, it's all been admin, replying to comments, invoices, chasing up leads, signing with an agency as well. That agency lead you gave me, that's done. Reading through contracts. It suddenly felt like it's become a little business. In the last 10 days, 2 weeks, it's beginning to go the direction. And it does take a heck of a lot of time away from actually sitting and making content, doesn't it? I now see why people need help because it takes time.
And the agency thing is, it can help, but I would say, for anyone kind of considering that, I've tried, I think I'm on the 4th right now. It has the potential to be amazing, right? Because you're getting someone else to go and get the leads and do the matching and do the chasing, the emailing. But it also, some of them, the one I passed on to you, they've been actually very, very good. I no longer work with them directly as an agency, but they do send business every now and then, whenever they can. But the watch out is, obviously they take a cut of that, of that business, usually around 20-25%. 20% is usually the what you see. And that may be well worth it, right? So if they're getting deals that are better than the ones that you could get yourself, fantastic. But the watch out is sometimes you might be able to get that deal even for more than the agency can. It's just a little, maybe the extra hour admin a week might be worth it because you've got a direct relationship. So I think it's just kind of balance out. If you're struggling, in my case, it's really hard to do a 9 to 5 and then content. And, sometimes I do need that extra help.
Yeah, my view at the moment, although it was a big cut, my view is at least I'm getting a percentage that I wouldn't have had at this point. As the channel grows, maybe as other eyes lay on me and people, fine. But I thought it was a stopgap to get me going, to generate some income.
And it's the names as well, right? The brands they come with are brands that people recognize in your channel. So, and actually, Ruben, who is a friend creator, we should have him on here as well. He's brilliant. he's in Italy. I think he's from Cuba originally. Anyway, he released a video today, and it was based on a conversation we had about sponsors. And I was talking to him about it because, sometimes you might want to make a video and work with a brand, not necessarily because of money, right? You're probably looking for like, Sony and LG, for example.
And Herman Miller did, for instance.
Yeah, exactly. Just having some of those names working with you to start with, you might have to open some doors and work without the payment, because having that relationship will eventually leading to kind of paid sponsorships. But I'd say be open to the idea that sometimes you might have to do something, just to show that you can do it, just to show some results.
And how have you found it, Daniel? I mean, because I know you've been running ads recently sponsor reads with Squarespace and stuff, haven't you? When did you first start picking up decent, regular
It started
sponsors?
It's not the problem I'm having is it's not regular. Like I went pretty much right at the start of this year without a sponsor. And I think Squarespace were the first brand to kind of reach out. And then I had like multiple in a row. But for the first 6 months, first like 4 months of the year, I had nothing. And it was quite frustrating because I finished last year quite good. But I also,
with sponsors.
I'm also not set up to send them like a pack of rates and show off work. And that's my own fault. I just haven't sat down and done it. I've kind of been balancing family life and Sam Mobile's channel and trying to bring in other revenue sources that I haven't taken the time to figure all that out.
Yeah,
like I've got Alex's pack that he uses, and then I saw Samuel's that he's put together for his channel, and I'm like, I could do that, and I could also find my value in that as well, and it would just make life so much easier. Because as soon as a brand sends something through, wanting to collaborate, I literally just have to say, hey, thanks for that. Please read over my pack. This will give you all the information you need. Send. Done. Removes all the anxiety from me.
Before I forget, because that's an important that pack I shared has everything. It's like a media kit, as they call it, but it also has my rates in it. Since in June I've changed it, so I removed the rates.
You said you'd listened to a podcast, didn't you, that was suggesting rates?
Yeah,
now
it was the chap that probably start thinking that I'm getting paid by this guy. It was the same chap I mentioned the last 2 episodes. He said, don't do that, because you want to know first what the brand wants to achieve. If it's brand awareness, for example, it might have a different package for that, or if it's literally just conversions to sell products, that's a different it's a different product that you're trying to sell. Therefore, just having a line in there, you don't know how much budget they've got, right? So if you say my rate is, say, $1,000, and they were, before they reached out to you, they said, okay, well, I've got 10,000 to spend. When you say your rate is 1,000, they'll jump at it, right?
Okay.
So I think it's just a watch out to, and I don't know, something to experiment with. Maybe not have the rates and tailor and I've done that. I mean, when I say I've done it, I've had help to do that, where we listen to the brand, we jump on a call, and this is what, it takes time, right? It's like, it's a full-time thing. Listening to them and then offer them. So, right, here's how I can help you. I've got these 2-3 videos coming up, and I could insert your product in this way, in these videos, and it'd work really well. But yeah, it just takes time and effort. And I think my recommend for you, Daniel, maybe do try, for a few weeks, maybe a couple of months, to have one of these agencies helping you out. And then, there's no...
Oh, is there obligation, right?
Yeah, well, there is. I mean, some will say that you can only work with them, right? So we have to kind of negotiate with them. Say, right, what I do normally is, let's work for 2-3 months, and let's see the results. And then if in 3 months, I'm satisfied, you're getting deals that are way better than what I could get, then brilliant. We'll continue. The fact that I'm on the 4th trial with a different one tells you all you need to know, right? But they don't go away, right? They can still work as someone who can send you business, whether or not you're in a relationship with them. They also work as a middleman, whether you're in a contract with them or not.
Yeah, I've had that with the Squarespace deal. That was through a third party.
That an agent? Oh,
yeah,
so it was an agent.
They reached out to me.
I think I know the one as well.
Yeah. They reached out to me.
Oh, so they found you, did they?
Found me. They found me last year. I worked. They put me in front of a
with
brand.
The same sponsor?
No, different brand last year.
Brand?
It was I can't even remember who it was last year, but then they reached out again with Squarespace this time. And to be fair to them, they're quite communicative. They're very actionable. Whenever you send them the video for approval, they're very timely with their follow up.
I did enjoy working with. Yeah, I enjoyed the process of working with them. I assume it's the same people, but what I didn't like, especially where it depends where you are in your journey, right? I think if you're at the beginning of this kind of dealing with sponsors and brands, and you want to be associated with good brands, there's definitely benefit in that. But
that's how I see it right now.
That sort of brand, they don't pay really well. Let's face it, as kind of speaking bluntly, and they will also want some guarantees. They will say, "I want X thousand number of views."
Yep. Yeah, that's very true. Actually, that's part of it.
I had that discussion this week. Do you want to go for guarantee views? And I said no. So they're going to go on CPM, which I think is possibly because my views can go from sort of highs of 35 down to 5 or 6.
It should never be on views. It's just such a.
But the views,
part of it. The whole industry is broken.
Let's face it, we're about to talk about the clickbait farms in a minute, aren't we? So
just going to bring it.
Go. That's a good point to pick up on it. Go.
I was just going to say that that view metric that they install into their contracts, that can create some sort of in someone's head, like, well, if it's all about views, then it doesn't matter how I get the views. I will go and make it happen inorganically, whatever the word is. And that's where the click farms come into it. Or in other cases, YouTube has like a legal click farm way in its system where you can pay YouTube to promote,
which you use, didn't you, Alex? You did the boost thing, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I'll actually go even further to say that whether or not they have that in the contract to say, you've got to get views to get paid, people are doing that anyway because instinctively, a brand looking at a channel that has a video that did like my favorite example is a swimming pool Hoover, whatever it is. It's like 500,000 views on that, and the channel has like, to be fair, like over 2 million subscribers, but 20 comments, right? So it's like, how can you not see that that's fake views? But any brand going in there won't look at that. I mean, the vast majority won't look at the fact that video, they won't go into view stats and have a look at the fact there's a massive flat line, right? It's just, 500,000 and then dead and only 20 comments. So it unfortunately, at the moment, people are using that as a bit of a loophole to get better deals, to get better sponsors, because people are just looking, if to your point, Daniel, if all you care is about views, just pay 100, 200 quid to YouTube and Bob's your uncle.
And you're still going to be a net gain from the money you're making, aren't you? Because you're going to invoice out more than that. So it's still going to be a net win. And all you've done is buy views.
I remember watching this show on Netflix in Australia, and it just speaks to not the fact that this is a YouTube problem, but I think it's a wider problem when it comes to the content creator industry, is that there was this show on Netflix. It was a reality show based in Byron Bay in Australia. And one of the influencers, because it was meant to be a show following Instagram influencers, one of the influencers on the show had over 1 million followers on Instagram. And then one of the other people on the show was like a marketing agency personality. And he dug into that person's Instagram. Turns out they're all fake bought followers, right? And that whole thing is all about trying to then allure brands to pay you sponsorship deals because you've got the number of followers. And I'm like, so it's not just a YouTube problem. I think it's a problem that spreads out into the industry. Is that
all platforms?
Yeah, and
I'm sure we've all got this, right? In our DMs, there's always someone trying to sell, hey, I can get you more followers, $50 here, $100 there.
Instagram, I get that a lot on Instagram for sure.
Yeah. And you can see people, tempted to do that. But what I do wish, there's two things that I wish we could do. I mean, one is probably possible for us to do ourselves, but it would require everyone to be transparent, which is where
Good luck.
which is where that plan fails, right? Because I'd like to, if you are going to boost a video, then say it. Then YouTube should say there's a tick box, and when you tick that box, as a viewer, I can see, oh, hang on, 100,000 views, but I could see that 15,000 views are actual, like, view organic, 75,000 or whatever it was were boosted. So they were pushed by YouTube to whatever, maybe bots, who knows. But at least there'll be that transparency, not just for viewers, but for brands as well, to go, all right, that's where my money is going. So I paid 10 grand for this ad, and this chap went over and, spent some of that money on fake views.
In a way,
I'm not working with them anymore.
In a way, that is already, it's not there. It's not there at all. But there is when you upload a video to YouTube, there's a button to disclose where there is a sponsored paid promotion inside.
Paid promotion, yeah.
Yeah, so that's different, right? That's just to say that there's something in that video that was sponsored. It's not really.
But is it different?
Saying that you purchased view? Yeah.
I think it's somewhere in the same line that you could disclose that you're investing to promote the video, and it's transparency, because transparency is also promoting.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. We should have that option.
Yeah, correct.
But when you look at it, and I spend a lot of time talking to other creators about this as well this week, because every now and then, sometimes I forget about it. Sometimes I think about it and I go, I'll just focus on creating content, right? That's what I enjoy doing. That's what my audience enjoys. That's where, when I see people engaging with my content, I know that they're real people. Some of them are my friends. I mean, you guys. So I think, but there are times when I go, fuck's sake, because it does impact us, right? In one way or another. It's our business, and in any other industry, this sort of stuff would be like, it's unfair trading, right? Whatever you want to call it. It's just not right. It's people. It's almost like investing in the market, but then boosting it, right? In a way that is not real interest. You're just making it look like there's a lot of interest in this thing. So like, I upload a video, the video got 2,000 views, and I'm going to go and add 20,000. And people go and they go, oh my gosh, that's amazing. This creator must be awesome. I want to work with him. Right. And is that vicious cycle that keeps going. And then because that's happening, I don't care what other people do, but the fact that a brand is choosing those channels over my channel, that's when I start going, hang on,
Yeah, that's taking food from your table.
And YouTube won't go public, right? Let's face it, they're not gonna allow a little tick box that tells people, these videos are being boosted, because YouTube is getting paid. So I think, I think that until the brands have the power, right? The brands have the marketing dollars to spend, they would be the ones that, when they start caring about, why am I not getting conversions? Why am I not selling this stuff? Or, maybe AI will help to go, those ads that you place, and the trouble is, right? The money doesn't go from the brand directly to the creator, right? It goes brand, media agency, PR agency 2, 3, 4, and then to the creator. So the reporting line, at the end, the person with the budget, all they want to see is how many views did we get.
Views and impressions. When I worked in corporate and in that world, that the impressions were the one they would usually use, especially if it's their own promotion. Like if they're doing their own promotion on Instagram, they're like, look how many impressions we got. But they never talk about the click through. It's because it's the more impressive number. And I think views is the same in the YouTube space for advertisers who are sponsoring videos. The views as the number, because they don't get access to the impressions number and the analytics like that from the creator. Yeah. So for them, it's like, look how many views it got. How many clicks and comments did it get? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about views. And you talk about how YouTube probably won't want to change it. There's the financial element, but that article that I shared in our chat, there's a line in here that said click farms can be operated with remote workers, and many sites that sell clicks outsource human clicks activity to freelancers. So that line for me is like a YouTube, an Instagram, a X or Twitter now. If you're buying clicks from them, they're not organically doing it themselves and promoting it using their platforms.
And maybe
they're outsourcing it.
Maybe they don't even know.
Yeah,
maybe they don't even know, right? They might want to be using an agency who is then doing that. So it's a tricky one because, like I said, it's our business, right? We all started this as a hobby, but it turned into a business. So we got to find a way of navigating this stuff, and it's just it feels unfair sometimes especially when the brands themselves will say, I know you're asking for this rate, but based on your views and your views are volatile, is the word they like to use.
That's the phrase.
I'm like, well, that's because my views come from humans,
honest,
right?
Yeah.
There are. So I honestly don't know what the answer is. I wish there was a magic one that would say, this is what we do. But maybe the answer is, brands need to be more aware of how their money is being spent. But I don't know.
And then there was one last YouTube point to make, wasn't there? It's something I think you picked up on, Alex. You found something on Twitter that our paymasters seem to be keen to try and rip money away from us in a time-honoured way. Do you want to chat it through?
Yeah. So as if life wasn't difficult enough, I've actually been listening to a book by Gary Vee, and it was about I think it's called Day Trading Attention. I mean, it's very typical. You probably don't need to listen to the book or read the book if you follow him on LinkedIn or Instagram, because he's all about the stuff that he keeps saying. But one of the things that he kind of drills down into is the fact that it's just got to generate a lot of content. And when we do that, especially when we're trying to share quality information, it's hard for us because volume is not necessarily good for us. For us, it's more about the quality of the content and the quality of the information, the knowledge. We have to test stuff. We have to actually experience it. So for us, it's a little bit harder to just chuck a lot of content out there. So for us, having one video on YouTube sometimes can take 2-3 weeks to produce, if not more. That is our, for the next few days, few weeks sometimes, you want that video to keep doing well. What we're seeing right now is, because there's so much content, after 2-3 days, if the video is not a banger, it would just, it just die. So on top of all that, you get YouTube adding this feature called skip ahead. So because, again, it's a compound thing, right? Because we're not generating a lot of content, we're generating one video a week, maybe 2 a week. We rely a lot on that video doing well and that video being sponsored as well, right? Because if the video doesn't do well, but it's sponsored, at least you paid for your effort, your equipment, your studio rent or whatever it is. So YouTube is now adding this thing, skip ahead, which means they will identify when people are skipping and will go, okay, that's probably an ad, a sponsored slot. That is not really a YouTube ad, right? It's not the usual that if you don't pay for premium, you get ads anyway. But it's the ones that even if you pay for premium, you will see the creator integration, like an integrated video, like I do, you guys do, we're all kind of, that's what, and we try our best to make that relevant to the video so that people don't skip, so that it is actually useful to them. If I'm talking about the fold accessories and the sponsor is an accessory case or whatever, it's all relevant, it's all good content. But YouTube is adding this thing now, so which means that people will skip, which then means, you're getting less AVD, average view time, view duration, and therefore your video won't be pushed. So YouTube is, again, encouraging people to skip and also telling brands, this thing that you're doing is not going to work.
Not worth it.
Therefore, if you want your ad to make sure that your ad is shown,
Ta-da,
you have
Google.
to pay us.
Yeah.
So that's pissing me off because that's a quick way to kill
integrations,
us creators, right? Unless, and this is where my typical overly positive personality comes in, because I thought about this and I go, well, maybe that just changes the goalpost, right, a little bit. Maybe that makes us either have to be really creative with our integration so that they're not really a hard stop and people can't really tell where the integration is. So you have to be maybe throughout the video, do a few mentions, actually use the product in different ways. It's almost like TV used to be, right? It's like product placement rather than
what's inside.
So it's not an ad, it's a product placement. So or you actually, because the brands are going to go, oh shit, that was working really well for us because the creator has that relatable aspect. So it's better than us paying an advertising agency and doing a commercial for TV. And this is where the Gary Vee book comes in, because like that type of commercial doesn't work anymore. Influencers and people using the products still one way or another get better success because people are. The example he gave is, I forgot the juice that the guy drinks he went viral. It's this guy on roller skates and is going through Fleetwood Mac's music. I forgot the song, but he's on rollerblades, beautiful sunset behind him. It's just a 45-year-old dude on rollerblades drinking this drink, and it skyrocketed like on TikTok, and it went crazy. The shares went high. It's insane how that one little viral video did for that creator and for that brand. So it works, right? People are relating to other people in that way. So the solution might be that we work for the brands. So we make the ads, but they don't feature on our channel, right? So there'll be like a user-generated content, I think they call it. But it's basically, we making the ads, they'll publicize it on their websites and on their channels. They'll pay us, obviously, but almost as if we were the agencies that they used to use for TV commercials. Maybe that's the kind of the end goal. And I honestly don't know. It's scary because it's 80%, if not 70, 80% of the revenue for my channel. So if that goes, yeah.
I don't know. I think YouTube have systems already built into it now that allows people to conveniently skip past portions of the video. Like if creators put chapters in, viewers will immediately jump to they'll see that there's the chapter for the sponsor and they'll just skip past that. And I think if brands aren't being clued on to the views being fake and not organic, are they really going to clue on that this is going to impact them? Or are they only going to clue on because people will make a song and dance about it? Like if it's not spoken about too heavily, I don't know. I don't know whether or not brands are going to be too aware of it, because there's already stuff in there that stops people from watching the sponsored parts of videos. Like you can double tap to forward 10 seconds multiple times, and then you're through it. So it's just
But this accentuates
it. Does.
This is almost like if you're watching let's say for example you relax and you're watching and you still realize you don't want to skip it because you kind of you zoned out a little bit. You're watching the video, but you're not really watching. I do that all the time. If a button is like a colorful button as well, it's like massive, like skip ahead comes up. You suddenly oh my god, shit, I can click this.
Yeah.
It will encourage people to do it more than they already do, I think.
The only way I think this might, like if YouTube could incorporate something alongside this for creators, but even as I'm thinking about it, I don't think they will, but where you can embed your own ad or your own sponsored segment into the video that can't be skipped. It's not for the viewers. I don't see why it wouldn't be. I mean, they do it now, don't they? Like they play ads from their end that interrupts and stops the video. So there's no reason why if you upload an ad segment or a sponsored segment separate to the video and then choose where it's to be placed, that could potentially just start playing without being skipped. But then YouTube will have their hand out, right? They'll go, money please. And that could be a thing where you're like, well, I'll give them a cut, or like I'll pay them a fee, and then I can do this where everyone's going to see it because they can't skip past it.
And maybe that's the answer to the other problem, right? Where people are buying fake views, because if you can then be transparent about you as the creator are choosing where the ads go and what ads go in and how much of that ad is kind of boosting your video, maybe that answers the other problem. But I just think at the moment it seems that it's all playing on YouTube's favor. And they say, it's all about the creators, but when things like that get published, I don't know when it's going live. I think they're trialing it, but it's just, it's pissing me off a little bit. But it also highlights the importance of building a community, right? That is not necessarily tied to YouTube. And I'm working really hard to find ways of, because, if one day YouTube decides to really piss us off and like remove the revenue completely, like doing something like not allowing us to work with brands, that's probably a time when I go, actually, I'll take my community with me somewhere else.
There's no real YouTube competitor out there at the moment. Like, there's nothing where you can actually say, I'll take
Elon needs to move on from Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, Insta, it's a weird little niche, isn't it? Yes, few people do make. YouTube is the one platform where there's enough people can make a living out of it. It's a fairly open gateway into it.
I had this idea that Netflix could kind of become a YouTube competitor, in that because Netflix obviously is big productions, but Netflix could, and this is like thinking, this is too crazy, but Netflix could have a section for like community creators where you can upload short films, TV series, homemade TV series to Netflix, and they could have a homemade creators section where people can showcase their work, and that's an extra platform that people could then build a community on and get cuts of revenues and subscription fees that they could upload to. And then you could almost be like a shop window for TV executives, be like, hey, let's move you over to the main part of Netflix and give you a production. But then that's a competitor to YouTube, and they could expand that out and build as they sort of start it.
They could buy Patreon, right? Patreon is that.
Yeah.
And Patreon is big enough, and they've got, a platform that works really well. But I wonder if, to support like that sheer volume that YouTube has is just crazy.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe YouTube needs a competitor. They've got it all their own way, haven't they? Pretty much.
Elon keeps
the only
Elon
platform.
does keep saying, "Oh, upload to here." Like, no, mate.
It's so shit. It's so crap.
Your X video platform is an abomination. It's like there's no catalog where you can just there's as simple as the YouTube homepage. The upload process for creators is disgusting.
It's painful.
It's not worth its salt. And he keeps telling everyone, upload here, publish your articles here. Like, he's trying to be like a Medium competitor. I'm like, but you can't even do that, because
you try upload a 10-minute video in high quality. You go, doing 720p. And it's like, I just recorded a 4K 60 video. What the fuck?
It says 720p is recommended. People don't need more than this.
No one uses 1080p. Yeah, even 1080p, they're like, no one uses. Like, come on, man.
I'm like, mate, we're not in 1904.
Yeah.
Well, there we go, boys. I think we covered all the subjects we originally set out to do, and
I feel better. I feel relaxed. This is like a therapy session.
We vented. I'm beginning to feel really hungry now as well. I've got to find a store that's open on the way home. I need to find some dinner. Yes. So breakfast for you, obviously.
No, good pizza place near Windsor.
Yes, exactly. The pod will be up, of course, on all the normal platforms, and you've been really kind with your subs. And don't forget, if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, that good review does help us as well. But we'll be back in a couple of weeks' time with another -16. The three of us will get our heads down and think of more great topics to talk about, and we will see you in just a few weeks' time.
Everything, will unfold. See ya.
Boom, we're out.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.